Welcome back to Service to School Stories. I'm your host, Sydney Mathis, Director of Student Success here at Service to School. As a former college admissions officer and the spouse of an active duty service member, I'm excited to dig into topics within the higher education landscape as it relates to veterans and transitioning service members. Let's dig in.
All right, today I'm joined by Tay. He is one of our students that we worked with here at Service to School. Tay, I'm so thankful that you agreed to come on the Service to School Stories podcast with us and share a little bit about your background and your journey now to Princeton. So let's hear a little bit from you. So can you talk to us about your background, why you joined the military, and kind of give us the overarching story of where you ended up today?
Yes, absolutely. So, hello, everyone. First and foremost, thanks for having me here. My name is Taehwan Kim. I'm currently a sergeant in the U.S. Army, actively serving in Korea. I plan to get out of the military in a month, and I will be attending Princeton University studying economics this fall. So, why I joined the military? I joined the military basically for two reasons. Number one was I wanted to become a U.S. citizen and live in the U.S. And second reason is to pay for college. So I was actually, reasons. Yeah, two very, very important reasons. So to kind of understand like the first reason, so I was actually born in South Korea and I lived there till I was 14. And when I was 14, my mom, she decided to send me to the U.S. to study abroad by myself, right? So my mom was really big on education, and in Korea, I wasn't honestly the best student at the time. So she decided to send me to the U.S. by myself at 14. And instantly, I fell in love with the U.S. I fell in love with the education system, the diversity, and also the living environment. So I wanted to continue my education in the U.S., but our family really couldn't afford for me to go to college at that time. We're having some financial problems and challenges. So my junior year, a U.S. Army recruiter came to my high school, and he told me all about this opportunities. If I were to join the U.S. Army, that I could go to school, I could become a U.S. citizen, and then live in the U.S. So that's how I joined the Army, and here I am now.
So, couple follow-up questions. You're 14. Mm-hmm. Had your mom been here to the U.S. before? Like, how did she decide where in the U.S. she was going to send you? I mean, it's a huge country. What state did you end up in? What were your initial thoughts?
Yes, absolutely. So, my mom actually, she has a sister that lives in California. So when I was younger, when I was like between 7 or 8, I visited the U.S. I visited California. I lived there for like a couple months and came back. And for me, that was a really good experience. I talked to my mom about, going back, if we are ever going back. And, but we honestly didn't have the financially, we weren't really financially ready for me to go to school in the U.S. because it's really expensive for international students to come to U.S. But she found this agency really near to my high school, and she somehow got in touch with the recruiter there, and we somehow got in touch with someone who lives like with this agency in Minnesota, right? So my mom talked to them, and she was basically talking about me, and she really wanted me to go to U.S. And then study in this church-related school in Minnesota. So that's basically how I ended up in Minnesota. It was a really one of the inexpensive options for me to go to the U.S. As compared to like other options. So
yeah. What about like adjusting to the culture here? Minnesota. I've never been to Minnesota, but I've heard it's cold.
Yeah.
But what was that
very
like?
Cold. So that was very drastic. I'm not gonna lie. So I stay with this thing called homestay. So I stay with the family there at the school, and it was very, very cold. First of all, like I've never seen. I got there at about January, and the snow was about waist high, right? And I was like, I didn't know there's a place like this on this planet. Like there's so much snow. The culture, it was very different. There was not a lot of Koreans uh, at the time in Minnesota, and there's not a lot of Koreans, I don't think now, or at the school. So it was a very different, very drastic change from from, being in Seoul, a city kid, to like, going to a city where there's really nothing much. But I think that's one of the reasons that really helped me adjust, not having a lot of Korean people around me so I was able to learn their culture, as fast as possible. So that
Yeah.
was fun.
And then I imagine while you're adjusting to the US culture and then you join the military, what was that transition into the service like for you?
So when I was in high school, like my high school was a church related high school. So it was it was a very different environment from going to this private Christian school in Minnesota where no Koreans to US Army where there are a lot of, Korean Americans like myself. At first it was hard to adjust because the military is literally a melting pot of everyone. You see people from so many different cultures, they speak so many different languages, and it was hard at first to adjust. But in the military, you go a lot of challenges with your battle buddies or your friends, and that really helped me make new friends. Get to know their cultures as well. But yeah, that really going through a tough time, with your battle buddies left and right, that really helped me, pass through the challenges and get to know their culture in them.
Yeah. Which is such a important experience. Like when we talk about, students who are going on to college, for sometimes that's the first experience they have with people from other cultures, or,
Right.
if they've never left their state and they go to school out of state, and that transition. And to think now that you've kind of worked through that experience twice, I imagine once you get on campus at Princeton, it's just going to be like another like step in that same direction as far as like meeting new people, and just the
Right.
diversity of thought is going to be really exciting. I'm excited to kind of continue to track along and see how
Yeah.
your journey throughout your studies goes as well. So okay, so you joined the Army. Talk to us a little bit about your jobs in the Army, what you did, and then at what point you knew you wanted to go back to school. You had mentioned, coming to the US and wanting to go to college, but at what point did it kind of click for you that I can get out and do this?
Yeah, so the military, I enlisted as a diesel mechanic. In the Army terms, we call it 91 Bravo. But I enlisted as a diesel mechanic, and I really enjoyed my job there. Fixing a lot of vehicles, engines, and things like that. And then after being a mechanic for a while, after like a year, I was promoted to team leader, and I had about 5 to 6 soldiers underneath me. Um, that was a really fun experience as well. That was a really good leadership experience to lead other soldiers. But I'll say about 2.5 years in the Army, one of my friends, she served here with me in Korea, and then she left to go to the States and then serve there. And then I had a conversation with her, and she basically gave me this talk about what we're gonna do after the military. And that was that, because before the military, I knew I wanted to, even before the military, I knew I wanted to continue and go to school. That's one of the reasons why I joined. But when she left, and we had a conversation over the phone, and she told me, hey, you also want to see what you want to do, after the military, because I know you're not going to stay in the military for long. You said you wanted to go to school, so really really think about what you want to do, and then really kind of get ready for that transition now, so it's not as hard, when you get out. So after hearing that talk from her, I really had a lot of thoughts about what I really wanted to do. And like I said, like I wanted to go back to school because I had about 2 years of college prior to joining the military, and I wanted to finish that. So I started looking for searching for schools, military-friendly schools like University of Maryland Global Campus, and start taking college classes there.
Okay. Where did you take college classes previously?
So I attended a local community college near my high school called Normandale Community College.
Yeah. And how did you find Normandale? And then how did you know like what classes to take there? Did you work with an academic advisor? Like what was navigating that like?
Yes, so there's a little story actually behind why I went to Normandale in the first place. So I actually enlisted when I was a senior in high school. But I enlisted under this special program called MAVNI. It's called Military Accessions Vital to the National Interest. The U.S. Army allowed about 5,000 people per year, and they recruited foreign citizens just like me to enlist in the U.S. Army if you could speak about, I think, one of like 20 specific languages, and one of them was Korean. So, after realizing that, hey, that's actually that's how I actually joined the Army through that program. But I enlisted in that through that program back in 2016. But that program, after there was a change of administration back in 2016, and I was supposed to ship the end of that year, but I couldn't. So I was on permanent hold for about 2 years, and a lot of my friends after graduating from high school, they decided to go to that school. So I was like, hey, if I'm gonna be waiting for I don't know how long, I might just go to a local community college and knock out some college credits. So I decided to go to a local high school there. Yeah.
That is one, I mean, just really smart of you to say, I'm still going to use my time, do something to benefit myself down the road. But also a lot of applicants that we work with have some college credits from a community college. And you're a testament to it. I think a lot of people think I can't go to community college and then aim for these highly selective institutions. When in reality, that's honestly the background of most of the applicants that we work with who are admitted to some of these really selective institutions. They all have some kind of community college credit. So, you see it's 100% paid off for you. What classes did you take there at Normandale?
Yeah, so I honestly didn't know what classes that I should take. So I just went to the I think it was like the student advising center where they help you choose what courses to take and what distributions that I should meet. And I took courses like very general education courses on freshman composition, microeconomics, macroeconomics, psychology, chemistry, and history. So I try to take the interdisciplinary approach and take classes or courses from various fields.
Especially not necessarily knowing then that you wanted to go study economics, right?
Right.
So going and studying economics, talk to us a little bit about how you ended on that as your academic major.
Yes. So when I was a junior in high school, my father had lost his job, and we were really financially struggling a lot. My mother and my brother, and it was everything. All the problems that we faced had to come down with money, and I really wanted to crack it down about the economy and learn more about the finances. Initially, I wanted to become a financial advisor to kind of help my family manage their money better. So I had that while I was in college, and I thought about becoming a financial advisor, financial analyst, or somewhere along those lines. And once I joined the military, I saw a lot of my friends and a lot of soldiers that served underneath me. They were having similar issues as my family back home. They were living. They didn't know how to manage their money well. They were living paycheck to paycheck. Some of them went jobless after their enlistment. So I wanted to see what I can do. I wanted to help them manage their money better, and how I can help them gain economic freedom. So that's what really that was really opened my eyes to what I really wanted to do. And also, when I participated in this project called the Warrior Scholar Project that hosts 1 to 2 academic boot camp for service members, and I met a financial analyst there, who was helping impoverished families. He was volunteering, teaching finance courses to really help them gain financial freedom a lot. So I decided that I want to study economics and work in finance.
And I love that. I remember when we were working together on your essay, and we were kind of getting into the details as far as why you're interested in studying econ and a little bit about your background. And that is when we say, have a genuine and organic story in your personal statement, and to be able to make that, family tie and that family connection and really have that come through in your essay. I mean, that's when an admissions officer is reading that story and they're like, okay, this person gets it. They're not just going to, dip their toes in the water and decide it's not for them. Like, there is a true reason why they want to go into this field of study. And, sure, college is a place for self-exploration. But I think when you can say, I've attended a WSP boot camp and, I've spoken with this person and here's my personal connection with it too. That just makes the essay feel a little bit more personal. So would definitely, encourage people who are listening, if you're writing your personal statement, try to make some of those personal connections where you can, because it'll certainly help the admissions reader just understand you better as an applicant as well. So you did a really great job on your essay. I was just very fortunate, and I felt lucky that you let me into your world and help you tell your story. So thanks for that. But I also want to circle back to, how did you find service to school? And what was going through your head when you were thinking, all right, I'm getting out, next steps are what?
Right. So how I came across service school, that's a really good question. So I was looking at colleges. I was looking at what colleges I should apply to. Honestly, at the time, I thought I was aiming pretty high. I was looking at, some good state schools, and I saw this school, University of Michigan, right? And I saw that there was this most schools have like a specific veterans application page or veterans admission page. And I saw that page, and I saw this link to service to school. And I was like, okay, so this organization, they pair you up with a mentor. And at first, it sounded too good to be true, to be free. So I clicked on it and I looked all these resources available. And I signed up I read a lot of success stories and things like that. And I emailed the organization, and then I was paired up with a mentor. And that's how I found out about service to school. What was the second question?
Honestly, the second question was just kind of when you were signing up for service to school, you were searching, you discovered University of Michigan, but what were you feeling inside as far as like starting this process?
At first, not gonna lie, I read all these stories on, I read all the blog posts and the resources on the service to school webpage. And at first, I don't know, because this is my first time actually applying to these top tier schools, and I actually didn't know what to do at all. But honestly, but my very first conversation with my ambassador, like I knew like this was the person that I need to talk to, because he basically helped me, crafting my school list all the way up to essay feedback. But he was a mentor that I really needed, in a dark tunnel. He was really the light that I needed in the dark tunnel. So yeah.
Oh, I love that. So you're working with your ambassador, building out your
Mhm.
college list.
Mhm.
At what point did it click for you that like I can do this? I can, achieve admission to some of these really selective institutions.
So my service school ambassador, his goals for me were like, at first for me, I thought it was out of reach because I told him, hey, this is a school that I want to apply to. This is where I want to go. And he's like, and he was like, no, this is not where you want to look at. It's like you want to aim higher. And I'm like, man, this is pretty high right now. And he's like, no, you want to aim higher, right? And then he told me a lot of books to read, and he also told me about, hey, you want to also participate in the Warrior Scholar Project. He's also the one who told me about the Warrior Scholar Project. And um, after participating in the Warrior Scholar Project and after getting once I got to Warrior Scholar Project, I was a different person almost, and I really saw the academic potential in me, and I really, my academic confidence really boosted during that program. And after that program, I got back to my service to school ambassador, and I told them, hey, this was an amazing experience. I think that I might be able to apply to these schools and go here. And they're like, I told you this all along. Like all you had to do is open your eyes and really look at yourself. So yeah, that was how it was.
Absolutely. Okay, and then you get admitted. You send me all of your acceptances, which was just the best emails that I have ever opened. Just being able to celebrate that and to, see your success was so fun. But you had a lot of really hard choices.
I did. I had a lot of hard choices.
Which is a great position to be in, like we tell students all the time, we want you to have options at the end of this process.
Right.
And if those options are every Ivy school and, some others, great. If it is some state schools and some other private schools, wonderful. But at the end of this experience, we just want you to have options. We want you to be in the position to make those choices.
Right.
And you chose Princeton.
Yes.
How did you choose Princeton of all of your options?
Okay. So I think it really came down to number one, the undergraduate focus study at Princeton University. So all the other colleges, they were really great universities. But I think Princeton University was the most undergraduate academic focused university where all the resources at Princeton is geared for, they're for the undergraduate students there. That was one of the big reasons why, because, all the professors and all the faculty, they're there to teach, they're big on research as well, but their main job is to teach. Whereas some, universities, they're more focused on the research. So that was really one of the things that got my attention first, and secondly, the financial aid. That was, I think Princeton offers one of the best financial aid in the nation. So that's really those two reasons. Yeah.
And I remember we had a conversation when you were choosing between two schools, and it came down to talking through the financial aid and how,
Yes.
You are just, and it's got to be like a full circle feeling for you to now be able to go to a school like Princeton and to receive such great institutional financial aid that, you can save some of your GI Bill, and it
Right.
just opens up that freedom for you.
Yeah.
And I mean, I hope you feel like you made the right choice.
Oh yeah, I know I made the right choice. That was the absolute right choice ever. The crazy thing was I was looking at my past conversations with my brother before I joined the army back in 2016, 2017. And I told him that I was gonna go to Princeton after the military. And I was like, I don't remember saying this at all. And it came true. And so yeah, that was really interesting.
walk us through the conversation with you telling your mom.
So my mom I got the notification when it was like 4 a.m., right? But I couldn't go to sleep, that night. Obviously, I could not go to sleep, right? Because they sent this notification like 5 days before. They're saying, hey, in the next like May 10th, we're gonna release the decisions. And Princeton was the only school who did that. You know what? Princeton and Johns Hopkins, they did that, but Princeton came out the latest. So I really wanted to know like the Princeton one. So, I got they said May 10th. Okay. I knew that I wasn't going to go to sleep. I told my roommate, hey, I'm not going to sleep today. And if I yell at like 4 a.m, please don't, please don't, yell at me or get mad at me because you know what it's for. And he was like, yeah, sure. So 4 a.m, I opened it up. So before opening it up, I watched some videos on YouTube. I wanted to see like right as I opened it, I wanted to see if I could accept it or not. So I did some research and I looked up how to know right away, if you get accepted to Princeton or like Princeton University acceptance letters. I was searching for it and I heard that if you see a tiger like right in front, like you're accepted. And if you see like thanks for applying to Princeton, that means you're denied. So as I was waiting, I was praying that hey, once I open this, I better see a tiger. I better see a tiger, right? Because once I see a tiger, like I don't have to read it, right? So yeah, right. So I couldn't go to sleep, stayed up all night, 4 a.m, opened it, and I saw a tiger. And I read the whole thing, and I was like, this is unreal. I wanted to call my mom, but it's 4 a.m, right? She's not gonna be as awake, to be excited for this news. So I held this to myself for about 10 minutes and I started calling people in the US. And I told my friends that, hey, I got into Princeton and told some of my friends and my family members in the US. And right before I go to PT, my PT starts at 6:30. I was like, I gotta let my mom know. Like, I have to let her know. So I called her, but she was awake. So I was like, okay, she was great. And I let her know, hey, I got into Princeton. And then she was just very, very proud of me. She was very happy, very, very happy.
She should be. And I bet looking back, she's like sending him there, at 14 is the best thing, best decision she's ever made.
Yeah, she's like, yeah, you need to thank me. I'm like, yeah, I know. I know.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure you have.
Yeah.
And then you also have a really great opportunity to continue to shape higher education in the admissions space for future student veterans. So you got accepted to that Common App Student Advisory Board. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. Yep.
You are just the best person to be, sharing what that experience was like for you, ways that they can make this admissions process easier and more student and veteran friendly. So I'm so excited to just continue to track and see the work that you all do in that space. Because there are so many barriers in the process that don't need to be there, like requesting
Absolutely.
letters of recommendation or, navigating, am I a first year student? Am I a transfer student? How will these credits transfer? So I hope that you tell them exactly how it is and that they make this
Absolutely.
process a little bit more friendly for you all.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm excited for that.
Absolutely. What would you share for the enlisted soldier who is thinking about getting out, doesn't know, is higher education the space for me? What advice would you share with them to take away?
I would say that even if you don't know what you're doing, really, I would say at least really try to take college courses in the military, because we have this thing called TA where service members can utilize up to $4,000 per semester or I think it was per physical year. But really utilize that even if you don't know what you want to do now. See where education can take you by taking these courses from various fields. Because right now you might not know what you want to do, but college courses go a long way in the military and out of the military. If you're in the military, taking college courses will help you get promoted faster. And even out of the military, people like, employers like, veterans with, even an associate's degree, right? So at least really take advantage of the resources that you have, really, try to become the best version of yourself. And then I believe, once you realize these resources that are there, you should be able to navigate your way from there.
Great advice. And last question as we wrap up here, what are you most excited about for the fall going to Princeton?
Honestly, like I thought about this question for a while. I think what I'm most excited about is really the residential community at Princeton. Although I went to community college before I joined the military and stuff, it wasn't really a vibrant community where students were just going to classes and they were going home right after work. Where at Princeton, we don't really have to worry about work or worry about financial struggles or anything like that. We can really be in this residential environment and immerse in academic discourse with my peers and my professors in and outside the classroom. Talk about what we're really passionate about. At your dorm. In the dining hall. Also watch college sports. See people compete against each other. So I'm really excited for this residence life community where we kind of getting together and then just really be a community, be part of a community. Yep.
Absolutely. Well, I know the veteran community there at Princeton is we've worked with, some other applicants who are going there in the fall. You're joining an incredible cohort of student veterans. And I know you guys are going to do great things because, look how far you've come. So I know I'm just so incredibly proud of you. Thank you again for sharing your story here, but also again for letting me be a part of your personal statement. That was just true joy, why I love the work that we do here at Service to School. But Tay, enjoy the rest of your day. And I hope we continue to see you around, stay in touch with us here at Service to School, so we can continue to support you. And we look forward to hearing more about what you do down the road.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Take care.
Yeah. All right. Take care.
That's it for this episode. Join us next week, same time, same place, where we share more Service to School stories. Service to School Stories is hosted by Sydney Mathis, the Director of Student Success, and produced by Amanda Tobias, the Director of Communication at Service to School. Service to School is a 501c3 nonprofit providing free college admission support to transitioning service members and veterans. Join us next time and follow us for more on all of your favorite social media platforms.